You may think Diddy's life is only champagne and yachts. Well, think again. Wear your seatbelts because what we're about to get into is just wild. Everyone is talking about the man who seems to have his hands and other body parts, mind you, in everything Sean Diddy Combs. But this time, it's not music, fashion, or even reality TV. No, sir, this is about some of the darkest allegations you've probably ever heard. Diddy's empire is shaking under the weight of some seriously insane claims. Now, there's been a lot of buzz online, especially with Joe Rogan mentioning celebrities tied to Diddy's shenanigans. The scandal surrounding Diddy is a lot more real than people think. So, we're going to be going down into the juicy stuff, the accusations, the raid, and the allegations. We're going into the truth behind the man once considered the king of bad boy records. Let's rewind for a second. Sean Diddy Combs, rapper, mogul, entrepreneur, billionaire, whatever title you want to slap on him, there's no denying he's made an insane impact on pop culture. From producing iconic albums to launching fashion lines, he's been at the top of the game for decades. But success, my friends, doesn't come without its dark side. And it turns out Diddy's dark side has been simmering below the surface for years. We're talking about big-time investigations, countless lawsuits, and rumors of freaky, drug-fueled parties that will make your head spin. Not to mention the raids. Yes, you heard that right. Federal authorities have raided Diddy's properties and uncovered some things that'll leave you shook. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Have you heard about Diddy's wild freak-off parties? These aren't your typical Hollywood parties, I promise. I'm talking about multi-day, full-blown ragers, filled with drugs, sex, and chaos on a whole new level. Witnesses say Diddy would organize these lavish events where commercial sex workers were brought in, and the guests? Well, let's just say they weren't there for the appetizers. Allegedly, Diddy didn't just throw these parties. Oh no, he directed them, often recording what went down and using those recordings as leverage and God knows what. Drugs like cocaine, MDMA, ketamine, and God knows what else were said to be flowing like water. If you thought it ended there, apparently this guy had IV drips, on standby, so that people could recover and keep going. And you wonder why his mansion was stocked with baby oil and lubricant? Yikes. These allegations didn't come out of nowhere. Diddy has been dodging lawsuits left and right, with accusations dating back years. In fact, in late 2023, federal authorities decided enough was enough. Not only were there multiple sexual abuse allegations against him, but also charges of racketeering, drug distribution, and even violence. According to reports, some of Diddy's alleged victims claimed that after these wild parties, they'd be beaten, threatened, or blackmailed into staying silent. And if they didn't, well, Diddy had ways of making sure they wouldn't talk. And it doesn't stop there. During a series of police raids on his Miami and LA properties, federal agents reportedly uncovered tons of controlled substances, illegal firearms, and yes, more than 1,000 bottles of lubricant. Because apparently that's a thing. The feds aren't messing around anymore. In March of this year, they kicked things up a notch, raiding his homes and seizing everything they could find, including defaced AR-15 rifles, narcotics, and enough evidence to keep the investigation rolling for a while. Diddy's legal team, of course, is trying to paint him as the victim, claiming this is all one big misunderstanding. His attorney even described him as a loving family man. You know, the usual PR fluff, but that's pretty hard to swallow when there's this much smoke. And where there's smoke, there's definitely a fire. This is not the only thing Diddy has been accused of. Remember Tupac Shakur, the star? Turns out Sean Diddy Combs is another breed of villain. This man just may have orchestrated a murder. Let's take it back to the 1990s for a minute. Hip-hop was hot. Tension between the East and West Coast was hot. On one side, it's Bad Boy Records, with Diddy, alongside their star, the notorious B.I.G., representing New York. On the other side, it's Death Row Records, led by Suge Knight, with Tupac Shakur as their crown jewel. Thing about all of this is that the rivalry wasn't just about music. It was personal, and things got so heated after Tupac was shot in 1994 in New York. Tupac survived, but he believed that the bad boy camp, specifically Diddy and Biggie, were involved in setting him up. And from that moment on, the game changed. After the shooting, Tupac didn't mince words. He publicly accused Diddy and Biggie of being behind the attack, claiming they knew what was coming and didn't warn him. And this wasn't just a beef on wax. Tupac took the feud to new levels with one of the most brutal diss tracks in hip-hop history, Hit 'Em Up, where he called out Biggie, Diddy, and Bad Boy Records by name. Tupac was fuming, but things would only get worse from here. Fast forward to September 1996, and Tupac was shot in a drive-by in Las Vegas. Just 6 months later, Biggie would suffer the same fate. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe not. After Tupac's death, rumors began swirling that Diddy might have had a hand in orchestrating the murder. One of the most prominent theories comes from former LAPD detective Greg Kading, who investigated both murders. Kading's claims? He said that Suge Knight, who was no stranger to playing dirty, allegedly hired hitmen to take out Biggie in retaliation for Tupac's death. And get this, according to Kading's findings, Diddy allegedly offered $1 million to have Tupac and Suge Knight killed before Biggie's death. Yup, you heard that right. He claims that Crips gang member Dwayne "Keffy D" Davis, who was connected to Diddy, confessed that the bad boy mogul made the offer. But here's the thing, there's never been enough evidence to actually bring charges against Diddy. Still, the rumors have persisted for decades, and Kading's documentary Murder Rap only fueled the fire. Now, let's talk about Diddy himself. Over the years, he flat out denied any involvement in Tupac's murder. He's repeatedly said that he had nothing to do with the shooting, and that he's as much of a victim of the East Coast-West Coast beef as anyone else. In fact, Diddy said that he and Tupac were friends before everything went sour and that he's been unfairly dragged into these accusations. Whether you believe him or not, his story hasn't wavered. He's not responsible. But once a theory takes hold, and there's a pattern, it's hard to shake. So, after all that, what do you think? Did Diddy really have a hand in Tupac's death? Or is this just another case of Hollywood drama and conspiracy theories gone wild? But one thing's for sure, hip-hop was never the same after Tupac and Biggie were gunned down. Whether Diddy had anything to do with it or not, he is forever tied to that dangerous time in rap history. Back to the rumors swirling around Hollywood about which celebrities might have been involved in Diddy's world. You can bet people are looking at Diddy's file. And let's be honest, it's star-studded. Everyone from Usher to J-Lo, Justin Bieber, and even Beyonce have been tied to Diddy's parties, though there's no evidence they were involved in anything shady. But we all know how Hollywood works. Guilt by association is a thing. So even though we can't confirm any of these A-listers did anything wrong, their connection to Diddy is raising some very serious eyebrows. I mean, knowing his reputation, what are you doing at such a party anyway if you don't believe he has what you're looking for? So what's next for Diddy? Well, if the feds get their way, this murderer and baby oil hoarder could be facing some serious prison time. The evidence is piling up, and his squeaky clean image is in tatters. This isn't just another celebrity scandal, really. This is a full-blown legal nightmare. And while we wait to see if any more big names get dragged into the mud with him, one thing is clear. Diddy's world is crumbling. So if you thought you knew everything about Sean Combs, think again. Nothing stays hidden in Hollywood forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.